Okay, so this video is on a topic we've already talked about on this channel. A lot of people are interested in it. I'm interested in it, so hopefully I don't mess it up. Probably will, but if I do, I'm going to keep it running. It's parasocial behavior. We're engaging in parasocial behavior right now. I'm talking. It's not face to face. People are viewing. Hopefully you comment and somewhat engaging. And there's many forms of this, and I think I'm going to start off with in-person parasocial behavior. And a good example would be the workplace friend, where it's very shallow interactions. It's usually to do with work. Sometimes it's a little bit of chatting about your life outside of work. And there's this agreement that it stays at the workplace unless you're dropping the right I guess it's called code switching, that you already belong to their group, you already have common friends, and you're already going to the same venues or social clubs or whatever. But if you're not that, then you're the agreement is it's not really going to leave the workplace. And something I've noticed is this isn't just coworkers, but a lot of people face to face, they will already have talking points planned out, and they will be narrating it very much like I'm narrating now, my thoughts. And then they say their thoughts, they wait for the other person to say something. Well, the other person will then say something, and they'll wait for their turn to speak again. They'll even sometimes not fully take in what was said because they won't know. They'll reference something that you said completely wrong, or it will not even, or whatever. You know what I mean. And it's just taking turns talking. I know I saw on a podcast recently The Rock and Joe Rogan going back and forth about cars, and they weren't even having the same conversation. And I think that went viral for that exact reason. So you can check that out. But I think people are having conversations with themselves when they're having real face-to-face interactions. And I guess part of my attitude is, if that's the case, I might as well just do it here. But I did go out today. I went to this micro brewery thing tonight. I just got back from that. And very loud music. You can't talk to someone. People getting drunk, people dancing. There's no social aspect to that, really. I can't call that social. I can call it, if you're there and you're relatively sober and you're taking in the energy, that's good. I think that's better than nothing, but it's not social. Back to my coworker, I told him, I ranted a little bit, and similar to how I rant on here, I asked him about his day as well, but I kind of was going off on a bit of a rant the last time. And some of it was about the boss, and he kind of interpreted it from the way that he would be acting if he was talking about the boss. And that's that I wanted to cause a gossip and maybe discredit the boss or put him in a bad position. And he actually went and told the boss, because they're kind of friends. And now that's put me in an awkward position, but I didn't want that at all. What I wanted was just to get a few things off my chest. It wasn't just to rant about the boss. It was about a few other things. And this work friend was kind of my work friend for more than a year. We've been going back and forth with some stuff. Mostly just bullshit, like small talk, and then kind of like, how's this, how's that. So it was a bit of a betrayal. And I don't fully comprehend why he'd go about doing that. So now I don't really have that work friend anymore, because I'm not going to keep going to him, talking to him. I don't trust him now. That's somewhat off topic, but it is also on topic, because he came into the conversation thinking I thought like him. He didn't view me as a separate person. He kind of put me in this box. He already knew what I was thinking, even though it was wrong. He judged me in that way. So he was having a parasocial conversation. I probably was too when I was ranting. So we weren't even connecting. We weren't really talking. And now to finally get onto this internet stuff, you look at these channels like Mr. Beast, and he'll do skydiving or a gold-plated burger or whatever the fuck he does on his channel, and it gets like 20 million views. I've never actually watched one. He's the pop culture type YouTuber. I'm not hating on him. I'm just saying I never really watched him. But when I'm not logged into YouTube and the home screen is just as default, he's always on there. And I guess people just like to go along with his adventures. It's kind of like a reality television thing. Maybe they feel like they are included. Parasocial, obviously. Today I was listening to not a podcast, but some kind of intellectual debate where they were talking about the collapse of liberalism. And that was pretty much parasocial as well, because I was just kind of listening to these people talk. I was kind of soaking it in a little bit. That was the only time I had to relax today. The rest I was doing other things. And there is positives to it. Like, I'm not completely ragging on it, but I'm just highlighting that this is happening and this is where our society is headed. I think the positive of it, especially for like an autistic person that gets burnout from interactions and eye contact and stuff, some of this might be beneficial, and maybe that's partly what has accelerated it, is a lot of autistic people either online or working with AI, tech companies, stuff like this. So that could be a positive. Also, privacy in your own home, exploring the world basically on your phone. It's not a complete negative. There is positives to this. I'm guilty of it. I do it all the time. I scroll through the Instagram feed. I'm on YouTube all the time. I'm on YouTube right now, but I'm as a creator right now. I'm also a huge consumer of YouTube videos, a lot of these self-help videos, stuff like this. But I think this isn't necessarily part of humanity, this parasocial behavior. I do think it has something to do with politics, and not the current left-right divide politics that you hear about in the news, but the actual founding fathers of the United States, and actually going back further into the Enlightenment period of when liberalism itself was created. Right now, liberalism is kind of a buzzword used by people on the right or far right to describe people that are usually themselves center right, that just have like a Tesla and blue hair or whatever, and believe in like gender equality and like things that are nice to believe in, but I don't know if that's whatever. But so that's what people think of when they think of liberal, but actually the NRA would be a liberal organization, because liberal organization is all about rights to the individual, and having a population that can arm themselves is a liberal idea. So liberalism was all about the building up of individuals, not of a collective, not of a centralized state. And I think what has went either right or wrong, considering on your reading of liberalism and how you view the political landscape right now, is that liberalism has always tended to drift off into narcissism and isolation, and people pairing that with capitalism, that they can make money. Now they can just be at home, or they can be at a winery, they can hire an escort, they don't need a family. These things are made very available in a liberal democracy. There's no real strong family ties. And I mean, we're all guilty of making this happen. We're all guilty of letting this happen. I don't know if I'd want a stronger family tie, because I come from a broken family. I don't really want to have children because I have alcoholics and mental health issues in my family. So I'm a fence sitter on this, but I'm describing what has happened. I'm describing the rise of parasocial behavior, and I think it's going to accelerate extremely fast with AI. I think it's going to I think it's going to accelerate with AI. I think it's going to accelerate with autistic rates going up. And I think it's also going to accelerate if we get to a point where we have to work less. And I think working less is fine. I'm in favor of a 4-day work week. I'm in favor of universal basic income, but I'm also a supporter of communities. I'm not a huge supporter of having this mansion way outside of town in a gated community where you just get to sit on a field of grapes and disconnect from actual working class people in the world. I'm not into that. So where do we go from here? In closing, is I have no idea, because as I said, I'm a fence sitter. I'm just describing that this is happening. I'm not even sure if it's a problem or if it's a good thing, but it definitely gets lonely, and that's something that we all get. And like I said, I went to the brewery today. Loud music, you can't have a conversation. Like, it's built in, you can't have a conversation. You can't even take, well, I guess you could take someone outside and have a conversation there, but you'd have to at least have a miniature conversation inside to get them out there. So it's all people who either just want to get drunk and try to get laid, which is great, or they already know who's there, or it's kind of they know who's there. They don't care what the person there is saying. The person there doesn't care what they're saying. It's agreed they don't care what each other are saying. It's agreed that they don't care what each other's politics are. It's agreed that they don't care anything about each other. They're ignoring the other's beliefs fully. They're having a completely disconnected and unauthentic conversation about absolute nothings. They're pairing it with beer, knocking a few points off the IQ, and then they waddle on home. And that's a crazy way to live. The second I walked in there, everyone, like, I was like, I could fold everyone in here. Like, nobody in here is coherent. They're weak, and they don't really do anything other than drink, and they don't have any thoughts in their head either. They're like marks for either extortion or robbery from someone, or worse. And what's going to happen is that, by the way of a government that seizes the opportunity and just strings these brain dead people along. So there is definitely a benefit to having strong communities and being able to engage in dialogue with people at a meaningful level, face to face, or if you have to, online. But that's the rise of the parasocial. That's a couple themes that I had in my head that hopefully this is somewhat coherent, because I'm all over the place with all of these. It's a ramble, but that's kind of how I view this situation. I guess I didn't get into the cult of personalities, people chasing personalities, which personalities tend to be, celebrities tend to be archetypes of personalities. They're these personas, these egos that they create, these personas that they create, and it's like an archetype of a person. They're like, I'm this, I'm that, these ideas that, and people who have already existed in the past. They're steel manning and almost doing this self-parody of themselves, and they're cashing in on it. And then they have followers, and the followers, the fans, the fanatics say that this is my guy, this is the guy that represents me, and then they go behind him like a football team or whatever. And I think that's probably built into humanity, just chimpanzee natures, followers and leaders. If you want to be a leader, learn how to follow, and always try to be the best you can. All right, peace out.